Go.
Okay, I'm Chuck Liddell. I'm giving a
a
lecture, as I do every 2 weeks, the second and fourth Wednesday of every Wednesday at 2 o'clock. I'm very happy to have 3 times as many people as I had last time. It is now November 25th. I can't, or it's not,
September.
It's October.
September.
September, I was going to say, boy, time's really going fast. And I'm going to be talking about Mr. John Wayne. Now, there's one thing that I forgot to mention. Before I was doing celebrities, I was doing all of the first and all the things that make Catalina very unique. I forgot one, and this is one that I consider to be very interesting. Soon after FDR became president, Franklin Delano Roosevelt in 1932, his wife Eleanor Roosevelt commissioned that they send a complete set of Catalina plates to the White House, which I think is pretty good. So in the White House, with all the presidential plates and whatever, they have a complete set. Now, what they got was Toy on Red, just for the record.
What?
Okay, so anyway, that's the end of that. So now we're going to go to John Wayne. Now, John Wayne, in case you didn't know, he was born Marion Robert Morrison on May 26, 1907. He soon took the name of John Wayne, which I think probably did better. And then he took on the name of Duke because that was the name of his dog. So everybody named him after his dog. Now, John Wayne had been coming to Catalina every year for almost 50 years on his yacht, which was called the Wild Goose, which is a converted minesweeper. So I knew the Islanders expected him to be here all the time. I only met him once. He would, walk up and down the street, no entourage, and everybody would run up to him. Now, he had so many autographs to sign that he had cards that he would hand out, which was okay. I mean, it wasn't quite the same, but, you couldn't do it for 30, 40, 50, people. John Wayne, my gosh, so he was just... So that's the only time I really physically met him, but now I'll tell how my relationship with him got better. So in 1979, I was planning to do the 50th anniversary of the casino, which was built in 1929, and I was doing it for the Wrigley family. I hope I can look over at you, so that's okay if I don't look at you.
I don't feel ignored.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. No, I know Krista very well, so she better not feel bad. So anyway, he came here. We saw him every year. Now, one of my favorite stories, or a couple of stories, he used to always go to the El Galleon restaurant to eat.
You see, exactly.
Now,
That's what they want.
one of the servers told me 2 stories. One of them was that she was in the restaurant. Robert Wagner was in there. Of course, he was married to Natalie Wood, which we could also, I guess I could put down Natalie Wood.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so he was not your friendliest celebrity. And he was yelling, "I want my waitress, I'm Robert Wagner." And she very calmly went over to him and said, "Excuse me, sir, I'm sorry, but I'm waiting on Mr. John Wayne now." And that just completely, he just got very, very quiet. But the story I really like is he was a very personable person. He really, really loved to talk to the locals. That's the reason I think he came over here for over 50 years. So he was at the El Galleon. I got this from the waitress. He was in the El Galleon,
Yeah.
The waitress said, "Excuse me, Mr. Wayne, but you know, I have to clean up now. You know, the restaurant's closing." He said, "Do you mind if I help you clean?" And he did. He helped him clean off the table just so he could have someone to talk to. I really, you know, I really think the same thing about his wild goose. He would usually go down to what we now call Two Harbors down at the Isthmus.
Amazing.
And he would just sit there all by himself. Now, there were people there, of course, the crew and whatever. He would just sit there, and people in the other boats were having a great time, and he would just sit there feeling, you know, kind of, you know, I wish I could get involved. So he would invite them all over to him, so he'd have someone to talk to. So anyway, he was a very nice guy. So when he stopped coming, the locals pretty well knew. We knew that he had stomach cancer.
What?
They had already removed his stomach. They found like 45 pounds of waste still in his stomach. They had to take it out, so he basically had to really limit what he could eat, so he didn't come to Catalina. Well, I realized that this was a time for me to honor him. So I invited him to be the not the speaker, but the what do you call him? The master of ceremonies for the 50th anniversary of the casino.
Look at this.
Now, I was sure that he couldn't make it, but I wanted him to be invited anyway, just so he knew that we cared about him. I didn't say I'm doing this because we know you're dying. I just did it, you know. So I got a very nice handwritten letter from him, which I still have someplace. He said, "Thank you so much for inviting me. I really don't think I'm going to be able to make it," but he said, "I just want to tell you a couple of things." He said that I remember when they still had the old Sugarloaves out there. Now, he was born in 1907. The Sugarloaves came down in 1917. The big one and the other one came down in 1921 to build the first Sugarloaf casino before they had this one. So that meant he must have been coming over here since he was about 10 years old. The second thing he told me that I was very happy to hear about, he said, "I was there for the grand opening on May 29th, 1929. Guess who he was with? Howard Hughes." If you know who Howard Hughes was. About this time, Howard Hughes was dating Katharine Hepburn here on the island. So, I mean, you know, every celebrity you've ever were always here. So anyway, so that was his connection. So when the time came, you know, he said, "I'm sorry, I can't, you know, be your master of ceremonies." I said, "I totally understand." So anyway, right after I did the event on May 29th, 1979, he sent me a telegram congratulating me on doing the 50th anniversary of the casino. Now, that just completely blew my mind. Realizing that people were sending him telegrams from all over the world, because by now he was on his deathbed. So for him to take the time to, even if he had a secretary do it, obviously he must have told her, "Send Chuck a telegram for the anniversary." So I mean, that that was really special to me. Now, right after I did the film festival, I did a 9-day, I mean, not the film festival, the 50th anniversary. I did a 9-day film festival. I showed classic movies about islands for 9 days. I did 5 a day for 9 days, 45 films. Half of them, approximately half, had to do with Catalina, movies made on Catalina. The other ones had to do with the other ones. So he died on June 11, 1979. He was only 72 years old. He seemed bigger than life. But on the day that he died, I changed what I was going to be showing that day. And I had them send me a print of The Quiet Man.